picking up the Rubik, I like it. It's definitely one of the riskier support heroes. A lot of the time we see it sort of avoided unless we see an absolutely fantastic Rubik game. We saw one earlier on in the tournament, but it feels a little bit risky with the lane matchups. What you sort of end up getting is a 4 that's okay. It doesn't supply too much damage. That's when the AA feels fantastic because you're able to finish off those heroes. But having Abaddon Rubik, you have to rely on the enemy team's spells to really propel yourself forward. And again, it's a little bit of a risky pick. And versus Wraith King, that hero can definitely be sort of preyed upon.
The Disruptor now coming out for the 4-zoomer side, so that is going to give the Rubik some nice spells, or further spells to sort of try and take away, but now, with that Disruptor picked up, one of Mag or Wind Ranger will end up being slotted into that core position, so that does give us maybe a little bit more clarity with regards to their lineup, but like you were saying about the Rubik, it always feels like it's sort of a jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. You get a little bit of everything, but never quite enough to feel absurdly confident sort of moving in with that Rubik. But in this situation, I mean, there's some nice abilities for him to take away. So it's going to come down to, as you said, what he can steal. But I don't know. The potential will be there. It just doesn't feel like the most comfortable pick in the world at the moment. But we'll see what D2 Hustlers can do now with this fourth selection.
Mars, yep.
Okay.
And that's where we see Devi Lama. He would have loved to play his Timbersaw, but again, relying on the Mars, one of the really best heroes in the game versus Wraith King in lane. You always have that Rebuke to take down the skeletons pretty much instantly, and it will be a hero. Rubik Mars is a lane that it does feel like you have the damage. You are able to sort of play up on this Disruptor. Now that, again, that will sort of slot in those heroes, removing out the what would be the 4 or 5 position. But for Zoomers having last pick, they will remain flexible with their draft. This Magnus and Wind Ranger, like you said, could be slotted. It could be a 2-4, it could be an offlane or a mid mag. And really, up until we see what Papa Tootie ends up playing, most likely will be the puck. It really could be anything for 4-zoomers, especially having Sammy Boy's hero already. So D2 Hustlers kind of have to make the call what they want to ban out. And they're looking for a gunner hero. They think it is just going to be an Ocean Wind Ranger and a Brax Magnus.
Honestly, it seems like a fair enough assumption at this point, as we do see them taking out some of those mid-heroes. They start with the Ember Spirit. Meanwhile, on the 4-zoomer side, trying to key in on some sort of carry for Yuma as they start with the removal of the TB. That's a hero, I say, still sort of in a kind of awkward position. He does still fill that sort of hyper carry mass farming role, but we don't really see it all that often anymore. It could still sort of slot in, or could have slotted in this scenario, but
I'm dead.
he's not very popular at the moment, but 4-zoomers are going to respect it enough to ban it out.
Well, and it slots into Yuma's playstyle very well. He's one of those take over the map, take over the game kind of players, and already sort of banning out everything else. And it's something you need to be careful of when you save your really last pick for your safe laner like this. Already picking up the Wraith King, it feels like the pool does thin out quite heavily, and they will just go for the safe lane TA. This is something that's gotten more and more popular as the game has sort of progressed, mainly that Sideway town at level 10, and it does feel pretty good versus Wraith King. Wraith King isn't an inherently high armor hero, and we see time and time again the spill sort of killing off your entire team. If you're not careful, you can definitely get a lot of traction on the map. So we see yet again another safe lane TA. Another, really, just the popularity of that hero continues to grow as the meta gets even more figured out, as we are like, what, day 40 in 7.29, 7.29D, not really shuffling up too much as of yet.
Yeah, only some minor changes really, but it is interesting and, dare I say it, exciting for the TA to sort of shift into more of that hybrid role. We've seen a lot of heroes sort of do that over time. Just immediate examples, I think the Morph and the Monkey King have both sort of drifted in between that 1 and 2 position as well. So really, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who absolutely hate Templar Assassin, but in my view, the more flexible a hero becomes in any circumstance, the better off it is. It's always nicer to have more heroes added as the meta develops instead of having that pool shrink. So D2 Hustlers in with the TA, and now if you're 4-zoomers, are they looking for that gunner hero? D2 Hustlers sure seem to think so, and I'm pretty sure they're on the mark with that assumption, but we'll see what 4-zoomers have planned here with that final pick.
When really with the Ember ban, it's super on the nose, but they're just going to go for the Tiny.
Okay.
Yep, that hero's still in the pool. Usually we see that hero picked up way earlier because it provides that flexibility, but getting to pick it up at this point, it feels really good versus the puck. It feels really good versus the Rubik. You're always able to be incredibly obnoxious. And if you get to pick off those heroes at the beginning of the fight, they're not coming back. They just have a little bit too low HP pool. And again, you're going to be empowered. You have that aspect in your lineup. You're going to be able to farm a little bit faster than you otherwise would. And I think for Zoomers, they've got a very active lineup. If they're able to make these plays, get that Blink Dagger really early on Gunner, if he doesn't get too shut down in his lane, he's really going to have free reign over the map for that first 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah, definitely a window of opportunity for Zoomers, and I mean, if they can take advantage of it, the early lead has worked to Zoomers' advantage so far. As we mentioned, really at the top of this draft, Zoomers have yet to drop a map. They are 4-0 right now. Of course, we said the same thing about Undying just a few hours ago, and they ended up suffering that first defeat in that 1-1 split. So we'll have to see if D2 Hustlers are up to the task of following in Infamous's footsteps and also knocking off an undefeated sort of giant right now, or if Zoomers are going to be able to keep on pushing their way forward, as we are going to be loading in to game number 1. Zoomers holding it down on the Radiant half of the map, while we will see D2 Hustlers over on the Dire side.
And it will be sort of a struggle, I think, coming out of the lanes. They need to really play well individually, and that's something that they don't really lack. Every single player on the Four Zoomers is very individually skilled. The lane that could really go the worst for them is the Wraith King's lane. But again, you have this Husky Disruptor. You're going to be able to put down a lot of harass, and you have to be careful when this Rubik does eventually decide to leave. We will be seeing 1437 on that hero. That's going to be the biggest change, getting the runes out of the Tiny's hands. If you get these runes on the Tiny a little bit too early, then you get to make plays that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Very similar to Storm Spirit in that regard, where if you can get active a little bit sooner, get those easy side lane kills when you have the level advantage, you have that early levels in Avalanche and Toss, you just are going to get that Blink Dagger a little bit sooner, and that might be a little bit too fast for Papa Tootie, where if you can out-level the puck's HP pool, then Papa Tootie has to be really cautious whenever he eventually does decide to make plays with his coil.
And as we get things underway, a little bit of all chatting coming in there. Brax and 1437 showing each other some love. Meanwhile, Pandego letting us all know he's pre-muted everybody. So no hard feelings. He just says he hates voice lines. Fair enough. Some of them are good. Some of them are nightmare-inducing. So fair enough. I can respect that from Pandego. But with that in mind, we are getting things underway here. No real funny business. Looks like it's just going to be an even split on the runes. So just an initial sort of burst of gold for the two sides, as it's just going to be a straight-up 2-2 split. So we don't really see too much of that anymore. There's some skirmishes here and there. We did see a First Blood play back in Game 1 of our previous series, but for the most part, teams really sort of weighing that risk to go in for an extra 40 gold across the board, and most of the time they find that reward to be very much lacking, compared to the risk involved.
And they've sort of set themselves up. They don't want the Disruptor versus the Abaddon, and it's actually four Zoomers that have made the call correctly. Unfortunately, it looks like Sammy Boy did overblock just a little bit, so Divine Llama will have sort of free range over the wave in just a few moments here. But at the same time, you got this Thunderstrike. It's going to be very obnoxious for Yuma in this top lane. And we're talking about preying on this Rubik a little bit, but now with Husky, with the Disruptor Magnus, you don't have that shackle into Skewer, so I think instead both side lanes going to go for a more farming route, especially on the four Zoomer side.
Yeah, the kill potential is not quite where they would like it to be early on, so as you said, more of a slow start across these side lanes. Husky and Brax up in this top lane are just going to be trying to harass as much as possible, try and slow Yuma down. And on the other side of things as well, if you're Sammy, unless you just get massively out of position, I don't think there's going to be much coming out of this. And in fact, it's actually Divine Llama who's the one in some trouble here. His support rotated top, which means he's alone. Yeah. Can he get away? Yes, he can. Popping that Fairy Fire at the last real possible second. So that is going to be enough to get him out of trouble. But now the problem with that play is four Zoomers realize if he's alone, that means the support's going somewhere. And they are going to be able to sort of respond as Pandego makes his way up. So the sort of sneakiness of this play from Pandego kind of gets ruined by the fact that his opponents just sort of spot that he's missing.
Well, and we'll see. It looks like 1437 opting to go for the double stack here, and it really is going to mean that Divine Llama is going to suffer in this lane, but they wanted that Abaddon versus the Disruptor so much that they were willing to make that long walk. He hasn't even skilled up anything yet. He's waiting for Husky to Thunderstrike anyone. But now it really feels like Sammy Boy is going to be able to have a pretty decent time. 1437 did end up TPing bottom, so a little bit pressure will be put off of Divine Llama. But it feels like for Zoomers, they've got the advantage they wanted out of that lane. They forced D2 Hustlers to make that adjustment, and they're going to, again, just farm up. They were just trying to get a little bit of an edge up in that lane versus the Abaddon.
So far, we do see them ever so slightly ahead here in terms of those last hit counts. It's not a massive discrepancy by any means, but as you said, the focus has been on farming, and so far it is having the desired results. As back up to the top lane, Husky and Pandago sort of going at each other a little bit here, but Pandago's still level 1, so he can push Husky back, but it's not going to be much more than that. But we are seeing the slightest bit of skirmishing across the map as Ocean's going to get himself picked off. Sammy threw out the Wraithfire Blast, but it's not going to be enough, and he's actually going to lose his Courier as well. 1437 making some plays there. Grabs First Blood, takes the Courier away from Sammy Boy, and well, we said 4 Zoomers may want to play it a little bit slow in the side lanes. D2 Hustlers not quite feeling the same way as they take advantage of Ocean just being that little bit out of position.
And that's why it did feel a little bit awkward not having the Rubik Mars together at the beginning of the game. But syncing up, they didn't even need the telekinesis, and they're getting really aggressive in this lane. But having the chainmail already, Sammy Boy's a lot tankier, then I think they have the damage to really kill him right now. And yeah, mid, solo kill, Gunner.
Alright, Gunner just in there. Avalanche toss into the tree throw as well, and oh god, you have horribly misfigured Sunsfan's face, but throwing that one out there, is they're going to be able to find their first kill, and that is pretty damn impressive. As you said, just a straight-up solo kill onto that opposing puck, so the Gunner's going to take a bit of an edge in that lane. He was already slightly ahead in terms of the last account, and now, Pandago?
Oh, Pandago.
I understand what he was trying to do there, trying to deny that water rune, but instead, Gunner still gets the rune and gets the kill, but now he's on the run. He's holding that rune for as long as he can, trying to get a little bit of extra HP as Papatuti wants to keep on chasing, but at this point, I don't think this is worth it. If he goes for the orb, he's going to be stuck underneath the tower, and he's not even going to connect with it, so without that damage, they just straight up can't do it. Gunner, back-to-back kills there in that middle lane. He does have to take a trip back to the fountain now, but I would say it's worth it at this stage. He's still holding his TP as well to get back to that mid-tower quickly.
And it feels absolutely awful. I don't think they really expected that much damage coming out. It was really just because he hit that level 5. He had that next level in Avalanche that Pandago really didn't expect to go down there. But to draw it even back further to the lane swap where Pandago is slightly lower level than he otherwise would be. And while Gunner, if he is able to snowball this lane, this is not going to feel great. If Papatuti isn't able to match the pace of the Tiny, then it feels like you're going to have a really free lane, because you need to hit sort of these small timings where maybe you can gank the Wraith King before he hits level 6, maybe you're able to kill Brax before he has enough spells to really turn on you. And in that regard, D2 Hustlers, again, their timing's going to get slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, it's I guess slippery slope is the phrase to use here. Gunner already playing fairly well, but I don't know. If D2 Hustlers can sort of batten down the hatches here, sort of shore things up a bit, they are obviously going to be able to recover, but they can't allow too much momentum to go into their opponent's hands, as down in this bottom lane, oh yeah, top not bot, excuse me, Pandago getting jumped in on. Good play from Husky going in for the glimpse. They need maybe one more hit, and they do get it. Husky finds the kill. Yuma, though, trying to return fire with the meld, but it's only level 1. It's not going to be that much damage. Husky, though, may still be in some danger.
No
he had stick charges, but didn't pop him, and yeah, without the boots, he's not fast enough. Yuma tracks him down, and we'll turn that into a 1-for-1 trade on those supports, but it's Husky getting the kill on the 4 Zoomer side, whereas your Templar Assassin picks up the bulk of the gold for the D2 Hustlers side.
And something that we have been seeing is that 1437 has been really investing all of his time into stacking. He's been trying to get everything for this TA. I don't think, almost all of their camps are stacked, to be honest. They're only missing 1 or 2 there. And eventually Yuma will be able to rotate out of the lane very early and really accelerate his farm. And then maybe Pandago's able to recover his levels a little bit. But at the same time, you're still at the mercy of this Tiny. I think you were able to make the rotation for that rune, and 1437 was able to claim the illusion rune, so nothing too aggressive. But really that 8-minute mark is where we're going to see a lot heavier rotations.
Oh, Gunner's going in for it. One more hit. Can he find it?
Ooh.
No. Papatuti with the... Oh, God. With the nifty plays. Turns back around with the Dream Coil. Okay. Well, yeah, not much more comes out of that. And Gunner He's still sticking around, though, but now we see the
Ooh.
TPs. The Mars will arrive, 1437 in there with the telekinesis. The spear will miss, though, but I don't think Gunnar gets... Yeah, okay, now he's absolutely not getting out of it. Davai Lama hits him up with the arena. So, Gunnar
And
will be
he
taken
probably
out.
could have died sooner, but 1437, the greediest man alive, went for the double stack. He has now a triple stack in the Ancients and a triple stack in that large camp, so the triangle is absolutely jacked up. And having to use that first arena to get a kill on the Tiny, it feels pretty nice if you're D2.
Yeah, solid play. We were wondering sort of where that TP was coming in initially when the Dream Coil gets thrown down, and it may not have been the exact timing we were looking for, but it does happen in time to secure the kill. 1437, meanwhile, getting pressured up ever so slightly there by the Wraith King, but a quick telekinesis gets him out, and is he going for the stack again? Oh my god, he is.
Round
And he's going
four.
for the double again. Can he actually get this? The man, I think he's
Yep.
got it.
Think he's got,
He's
yeah,
got it.
both
Oh
sides.
my god, that is so much farm just sitting there waiting for someone to come and claim it.
And Yuma, he's already taking some of these large camp stacks that, again, this has been 1437's focus pretty much the entire game, and it's giving Davai Lama a lot of soul XP that they can't really punish. Ocean will finally make a rotation towards the top lane, and this is the rotation where Pendago will finally be able to get a little bit of XP, hold the tower, and until Sammy Boy decides to make his way up there, they really can't pressure this tower all too much. They might look for a dive here, but they need Gunnar, but he's making a play mid.
All right. They're going in on a
Oh, nice
Pangago as well,
glimpse.
looking for him. Can they bring him down? They are going to be able to get that kill. Meanwhile, over in the middle lane, Gunnar pushed back again, as you said. Glimpse play sort of coming through. Oh, God. Coming through as Husky's still going to get trapped up inside of the arena, though, and he will be taken down. So, Pandago falls on one half of the map. Husky taken down on the other. Gunnar, though, is still in here, but with the haste rune, he should be able to fall back. Davai Lama, oh, God, getting actually tossed
Oh.
away. I think
The
Gunnar's
raindrop.
okay for now. Can he get himself out? No, the trap is going to slow him down. Here they come. Davai Lama and 1437 in here for round 2. Avalanche will slow them down, but now Yuma into the fight. They are just going to keep this fight going, and I think they've got it. Davai Lama comes in for the kill, and Gunnar will be taken down. So across the map, it is a 2-for-1 trade. However, Four Zoomers do get an objective off the back of their kill up top. Rax and Ocean were able to finish off that tier 1, so the tower is going to sort of make up for the extra loss there as Gunnar was taken out in that middle lane.
And it was a fantastic try from Husky. He actually got Papa Tootie on the missed jaunt. He got a little bit too greedy with his timing, so he did get sent back into the danger zone, but the waning Rift Silence was just lasting a little bit too long for Gunnar to finish off that kill. But at the same time, Gunnar's blink feels a little bit far away. Brax has a blink of his own. He's completely prioritized his game. Doesn't even have a point up in the RP just yet because of how much farm he's been trying to take. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to steal any of the TA stacks. And we'll see again, just continue to stack. There's a 5 stack that Yuma's taking right now in that large camp. And this is going to be an incredibly blistering fast Desolator on the TA.
Yeah, I mean, he's just about there already, so the TA is going to be coming into this next engagement with a hell of a lot of damage to work with. I'm not entirely sure if Four Zoomers are going to be fully prepared for it. They're not going to see, unless Yuma actually shows himself here, they're not going to see him pick this item up. So the next time Yuma pops out, he's going to be hitting insanely harder than they're ready to really deal with. However,
Oh, Papa Tootie. If they don't know
they're
about
on
the
it.
Eula
Oh, no!
Oh no!
Brax, no!
That's your blink reveal. That's your RP. It's a little bit crazy. He's playing with this disruptor. Papa 2 is a little bit wild, but what a bait. They didn't know about the Eula rune. That was perfectly baited out by him. They knew something was up as well. I don't think they have this ward on the low ground here, so maybe they caught wind of Ocean maybe with a smoke, making the play towards their topside jungle, but I mean, a perfect bait from Papa Tootie, and the Deso is flying out for Yuma right now.
Yeah, so now we have sort of a double whammy here. We were talking about Yuma potentially being able to hide that Deso for a little while longer. Not only can you now pull that move off, but you have fully revealed on the opposing side the Blink Dagger being there, and the RP is now on cooldown,
Gunnar.
so they have an opportunity. They're going to go for it. Gunnar jumped in on the middle lane. They're going to hit him up with the Telekinesis. Davai Lama even coming in for the Rebuke for the damage and the slow, and Gunnar will not survive. Big kill for D2 Hustlers, and they may not be... Okay, never mind. They're done. Davai Lama tries for this arena, but Ocean was a little bit too fast, able to pop the Wind Run and get himself out just before that arena formed. But that's still really one of the better kills that T2 Hustlers could have picked up in that scenario.
And the big black mark on the Zoomer's scorecard right now is just your Tiny. He's so poor. He's having a really terrible time. Well, not too far behind the puck. You are looking at this Magnus, and he has a fantastic game. He's had a fantastic start. That's why that missed RP hurts so much, because you have so much stock really in the Magnus at this point, and he feels brazen enough to hit this tier 2 tower. But with Yuma rotating mid, I think you're going to lose the mid. You're going to be able to at least glyph your creep wave, get the Magnus out of the top lane with that cart. And Brax, what do? You don't have enough levels up in your spells. Really, it's just the Empower, which has gotten him this Blink Dagger. It's gotten him this far into the game, but he's really not able to help out his team all too much. If he finds a skewer play, there's a big chance that he dies for it, even though you might be able to get the return kill on perhaps Devi Llama, as he's not too tanky yet. But this is a big obstacle that the Zoomers have to sort of deal with. If they want to TP and defend this tower with the Tiny, it's a measured risk, but they need to be able to get this Static Storm. They need to get their spells off. Otherwise, we're sort of barreling to an eventuality where D2 Hustlers are going to be able to out-tank your damage and tank the fight regardless.
Yeah, running into sort of a pivotal point in the match really early on here, just 12 minutes in, but the question at this point, if they want to defend this tower, Husky, the Static Storm is available, as you mentioned, but who do they prioritize here? There's a trio of heroes just sort of hanging out here in the east, but if they go for that one, you're missing onto Papa Tootie, who doesn't have the Dream Coil, but the Orb and the Waning Rift could be a sort of punishing move there, get in with the damage and the silence to prevent 4 Zoomers from going for any sort of follow-up. So the Husky is going to be called upon to make an incredible play and a pretty tough decision in terms of who he'll actually target, but that is assuming that Gunnar is actually looking to fight here mid in the first place once he respawns. So we will have to wait and see. I believe one of the teams said that they were ready to go, but
yeah, that was D2 Hustlers. I think now they're just waiting for Zoomers. The G was called from D2, so maybe just waiting for the Zoomers to... Oh,
there
phone
it
call.
is. Okay. Knicks fans still partying outside. Oh, man. Really? Wow.
Very important. But the only issue, if they do want to defend this tower, is they have the vision, they have the traps coming in from Yuma. How does Husky approach this without dying? I really don't know, because at this point of the game, you would like to have that Blink Dagger on the Tiny. You would like to have a 12-minute Blink Dagger, prioritize his farm, and with the start that he had, I was really expecting more out of Gunnar, but with the Mars sort of really dampering his game, he's made the rotations mid at least once or twice now, and being successful in shutting down this Tiny, it's really feels awful to sort of claw your way back in on the Rock Hero.
Yeah, it's just, like you said, it's just weird. He started out 2-0, got first blood, picked up a second kill, looking like he was en route to the exact kind of start 4 Zoomers would have needed from him to turn into that sort of leading man around that maybe 15 to 20 minute mark, but 3 straight kills has really set him back. That Blink Dagger right now just sort of a pipe dream. He is well away from finishing that off. So 4 Zoomers have to try and get him back into the game. The problem is, if you prioritize more farm from him, you could potentially be taking away from Sammy Boy. So that is is going to be a bit of a balancing act for them, but they've got to try and do something. They really can't afford to let him languish down here. He's the lowest net worth core in the game at this point. So something's got to change, otherwise D2 Hustlers are just going to keep on pushing forward. Once this game resumes, they are still looking to dish out that damage onto the tier 1 mid, and looks like we are ready to go. So the phone call is over. Sammy says they're good, and we should be resuming in just a moment or two. We'll see if Hustlers can actually put serious damage onto the tower or not.
Well, and we'll have to see, because if they do give up too much space, they give up too much time to recover this Tiny, the Roshan is always available to them. With the Curse of Avernus, even though it's only level 1, this TA does so much damage, and almost max level Meld, she has incredible levels to match the farm, and they are TPing in here. They want to make something happen, but until Brax shows up, it feels hard for them to engage, but maybe this is the go on to Devi Llama.
They get the glimpse down, but at this point, Devi Llama, he's maybe not super tanky, but he's going to be tanky enough to survive for the time being, as he will regroup. His teammates are coming in, but so too is Sammy Boy. He wants in. Wraithfire Blast deployed. They're going to catch out the TA. Yuma, though, not going to get taken down immediately. He will fall back to the high ground. His teammates once again sort of looking to regroup and then push back in as they caught out Gunnar. Papa Tootie dodging out the avalanche. The toss, though, still hits him up, and now the Static Storm will come through. They have to try and defend this puck, but the shackle will come out, and Papa Tootie is going to be locked down. Husky in with the kill, and now they want more. The Glimpse going to be pulling a couple of heroes back into the fight. 1437 caught out. He uses a stolen toss to try and get Gunnar Gunnar, though, away with 30 HP, so he is going to be able to
Oh,
survive that. And at this
Yuma.
point, yeah, Yuma, you need to leave. But the kinetic field actually going to sort of trap him up here. He has no way out just yet. The toss throws Brax in. The RP is going to be there, and the TA has no one left to defend her. Dalai Lama does come back in with the arena, though, as both Husky and Gunnar will be taken down, so maybe they can turn this. 1437 is bought back as well, but Sammy trying to toggle that armlet, looking to keep the fight going, jumping in. Oh, God, that's a crit. On to 1437. That Mortal Strike takes away about half his HP, but Dalai Lama in with their spear into the rebuke. That is going to be enough
as well.
to burn through it. And now, yeah, Papatuti has the coil back up. Can they drop it? Can they get it onto multiple heroes? Yes, they can. Locking down both Ocean and Sammy Boy, but they don't have the damage right now. And now here comes Husky back into the fight, going in for that glimpse. Davai Lama once again stuck inside of that kinetic field. Brax coming in for the skewer play once again, and Davai still not dead yet. Good play in from Pandago, hitting him up with that Aphotic Shield. That's going to allow the Mars to fall back, and I think this fight may finally be coming to an end.
And really, it was sort of messy spell usage. I do believe you did lose Yuma as well at the end of the day. And Sammy Boy, while you are losing your first life, you aren't level 12, so it will be the long sort of cooldown. That really didn't go the worst for the Force Zoomers. It felt like they weren't able to really feel confident hitting that tower, and it was really up to Husky. It was a really clutch initial static storm that was able to catch out Papa Tootie, just barely getting the kinetic field up in time. And without that, I think that fight goes way worse for them. Of course, I think D2 Hustlers, yeah, they're just going to immediately run back at it, but this is what should have been theirs before. They just kept the fight going so long with some fantastic spell usage from the four Zoomers.
Yeah, really just drawing things out to a degree where, I don't know, at a certain point, you sort of wonder, maybe D2 Hustlers, at this point, it might have been time for them to just sort of cut their losses and fall back. They kept on pushing through, and as you said, the fight for four Zoomers ends up going relatively well. So at a certain point, you sort of suck your opponents in. They aren't willing to sort of give up on the fight early enough, and you do still lose that tower, but overall, not a lot of separation between the two squads. D2 Hustlers are slightly pulling away, but that net worth lead is about 1,300 at the 15-minute mark. I don't think it's anything they need to be overly concerned with for four Zoomers, especially with Brax now starting to get that Empower out onto his teammates.
And that's what you need to be cautious of. If four Zoomers get a little bit too much space, they're definitely going to out-farm you in this game. And if your spell usage is just a little bit off the mark on the D2 Hustler side, your cooldowns are slightly longer. The longest cooldown in the game, I believe, is that RP. And the RP doesn't really matter too much. It really matters about getting the glimpses back. If D2 Hustlers stick their necks out a little bit too long, looks like Husky's just dead.
Okay, yep,
But
bye,
they're
Husky.
trying to take back their jungle.
It's not a whole lot he can do on that one. He just gets burst down, and now Brax and Ocean gonna have to fall back. They're sticking around for maybe an extra creep wave. That could get a little risky, but the only one in onto them directly is Yuma right now, and he's not gonna have the time to sort of throw down that trap and actually spring it for the slow. So slightly greedy to go for that one extra wave, but they are gonna get away with it. And now Brax and Ocean actually not leaving just yet. They realize no one's chasing after them, so they might just stick around, see what else they can get. But the D2 Hustlers starting to maneuver elsewhere on the map. Divide Llama pushing into the west side jungle. He's going to force Gunnar out, and they're going to be able to steal quite a bit of this farm away in this sort of west side triangle.
And this is exactly what they need to do. If four Zoomers see that they're all moving into the triangle, you see Sammy Boy make the breakout for the bottom wave. You see Ocean and Brax covering each other top. And this is the force. They are just going to double meld. Oh, I was going to say double meld and start the Roche, but instead they want to pick beforehand. A little bit of miscommunication, possibly. They can get the two heroes top, that'd be great, but this feels like a forced play. Four Zoomers were already happily farming. Maybe they can catch Gunnar mid, but...
If they can get Gunnar, this will look quite a bit better for them, but they're going to get scouted out by Husky. I don't know if they really get this. They're going to have to go onto the Disruptor instead, and... I mean, that's still a pick, but he's dead for 30. He's got buyback, so that's really not what you were hoping for there. I think... Honestly, they probably should have just gone for Roche when they had the chance, especially with Gunnar now finally getting that Blink Dagger online. 17 minutes, not exactly the fastest we've ever seen, but really at this point, he's still got that extra maneuverability, and we see him now TPing back to base to pick it up. That does mean, though, that he can't TP out to immediately try and contest Roshan. So D2 Hustlers should have an opening to get in here and take down Roche for the first Aegis.
And I would say that, but TA is just too good with the double meld. It really doesn't matter. They're not able to get there just in time. And actually, Ocean.
And he's going to get silenced up here. He did have to pop that Dream Coil, but he's still getting
Papatuti.
himself out. Sneaky play there in the trees. Papatuti will miss. 1437, though, has the Ooh, he doesn't have the range. He does have a power shot, though, but he's not going to... Oh, we're not going to talk about that, Brax. We'll just leave that one alone. RP now down for reasons that we can't possibly explain. But the fight will continue. D2 Hustlers pushing their way forward, but I don't think anyone else is willing to fight. Without that ult on Brax, they don't have that sort of trump card to play, but they are going to spot Papatuti there with the power shot. But again, they don't really have the lockdown that they'll need now, although, no, Husky in some trouble, not dead just yet, and this fight is actually still going. Okay, D2 Hustlers one in, Husky taken down, but yeah, they lose the Aegis in exchange. Sammy trying to set up. Can he get the stun down? Yeah, he can. Yuma, he's going to be in some trouble here. Can they bail him out? No. Shackle comes in. Nice play from Ocean. They're going to be able to lock Yuma down. Now they want more. They've caught out Divine Llama with the toss, pulling him back towards the tower, but the rest of the fight is sort of splitting up a little bit as Sammy Boy tried to chase after the rest of D2 Hustlers. He is going to be able to take Pandago down. Now they turn their attention onto 1437. Hitting him up with the Wraithfire Blast. Does he have the damage to do this himself? Absolutely. That is going to be another Mortal Strike crit coming in. Gunner, meanwhile, tried to track down Papatuti. Not able to get the kill just yet. As the Dream Coil will lock him in place. Can he get the tree toss? Well, he can, but it's not going to be enough damage. But the Shockwave in from Brax, making up for that missed RP earlier on, as he will finish the fight. A full 5-man wipe. They do lose a couple of heroes. Actually, just the one hero and the Reincarnation, but 5 kills going their way. Going to sort of break this one open a bit for 4 Zoomers.
Well, and even though Brax did miss that RP, mainly because Pandago was face-checking him, he was running at him, he even used the borrowed time to make sure nobody was dying, even though that RP wasn't really going to land on anyone. But for Zoomers, they kite in the trees, they take so long, they place that ward up so they can see absolutely everyone in the fight. And Yuma does not have his BKB. It felt like an Aegis that should have been used for them to maybe get some of these outer towers, push into the bottom lane, get a few more levels, a little bit more farm. Ended up instead overextending in the top lane and 100% getting punished for it. And Four Zoomers didn't even have sort of the best spell usage. They really were just patient. Pandago had too many stuns to purge off. They simply waited for him to use the shield. Immediately Sammy jumps up.
Papatuti, he's just straight up dead. Static Storm into Shockwave. Ocean comes in with a Shackle into the Focus Fire, and okay, Papatuti not dead just yet. Can he get himself out? No. Power Shot's there. Ocean times it perfectly. They will get the kill onto the puck. They get the tower as well, and we were talking about D2 Hustlers building up momentum earlier on. It's gone. They're down by 4k now, and Brax is looking to push even further forward. He wants to skewer, but nice play from Davai Lama coming in with that spear. Ocean responding with the Shackle, so there's not going to be much there. It's a bit of a stalemate as everyone backs off, and if you're D2 Hustlers, I don't think you want this fight. Without the puck up, you are massively behind in terms of your lockdown and damage. So, smart move of them to just sort of back themselves away once that Shackle Shot sort of removes the option to push any further in.
Well, and they tried to initially start onto the Wraith King, but he has his Radiance. He's feeling fantastic. Sitting at the top of the network, there's really no hero to be his equal. And we see sort of this matchup, the TA versus the Wraith King, a lot. But as soon as it sort of feels like the TA is falling behind, this matchup heavily favors the Wraith King. You're finally able to break through those refractions. You have the skeletons. It's really obnoxious for Yuma to sort of sit around and hit anybody in this team fight because he keeps on getting tossed back. He keeps on getting skewered. And if he gets separated from his Abaddon before BKB, he's just food. He's just something for the Four Zoomers to sort of mauled over. And now you see them sort of itemizing to get a little bit more armor, shore up sort of the issues with their heroes. And I mean, once Sammy Boy has sort of those items, he's got a plate mail right now. It feels like D2 Hustlers are going to run out of damage.
Yeah, they're already becoming, at first glance, maybe a little bit too reliant on the Templar Assassin. And once the armor sort of comes in to counter out things like the Deso and the Meld, and as you were sort of mentioning, the damage is going to run dry pretty damn quickly. So Hustlers, I feel like now is the time where they have to try to make plays, but who can they really jump on? If you go into the Wraith King, you're not going to get a whole lot of purchase there. Gunner maybe is still vulnerable, but you do have to watch out for that Blink Dagger on him as well. So really, no matter where they go, there's going to be a pretty significant amount of risk involved as 1437 blinks forward for the stolen Wraithfire Blast. Okay. Just sort of a little love tap there to Sammy Boy. Not going to be much coming of that, but you see Four Zoomers still grouped up in and around that sort of mid lane and north side jungle area. So they're just waiting for their opportunity, hoping that D2 Hustlers sort of wander into that trap.
Well, and it's the Blink Dagger on Ocean. They don't know about that sort of secondary disable. They just caught wind of Divine Llama making his way into the jungle. And something we didn't see, that we did see with the TA earlier today, played by Inverse, was that the TA was able to set up traps in sort of these checkpoint areas and scout out a lot of information. Whereas the Four Zoomers, they've been buying a lot of these sentries. They've been keeping the vision down. And I think Ocean I don't think he saw the trap, and I don't think Yuma did either.
Okay. Yuma's going to get
He
jumped
has
in on.
BKB.
How long will he hold it? Gunner's coming in, looking for the toss. BKB still not used. At a certain point, though, it feels like he's going to need it. There it is. Okay. They will pop it, but he is still in some trouble here. The arena was thrown down, but, well, the Mars himself wasn't actually there, so he gets sort of glimpsed away from the fight. Now Yuma
No.
still going to get caught out, hit up by the Shackle into the Static Storm. He has really nothing left as Brax comes in. Nice RP connecting onto 2. Skewer comes back as well. Yuma still trying to fight his way through this, though, and he will take down Husky, but it's not going to be enough. Yuma himself will die. Pandago, now without his ult, has to try and get out of here on foot, and I doubt he's going to make it. Shockwave will lock him down. Gunner comes in for the right clicks, and Pandago will fall, but now they're onto the Mars as well. They've managed to catch out Davai Lama. They get him with the Shackle, and this is turning into an absolute disaster. That was not even remotely worth the kill that they get onto Husky. They just get completely shut down. Gunner picks up the triple in that fight, and that one just blows up in D2 Hustler's face.
And I don't know if a ward expired or why they're even down there in such force, because you have one TA trap, you have one sentry on the high ground. You know that they don't necessarily have vision there, but you don't have any vision yourself. They simply TP in on the tier 2. Yuma doesn't use his BKB to TP out immediately. Instead, they try to fight because they have eyes on Sammy Boy. Sammy Boy goes out and kills 1437 in the meantime, and you lose the fight in such convincing fashion. It really feels like Four Zoomers can sort of just waltz their way into a winning end of the mid game. I really don't know how D2 Hustlers play from behind, because their heroes don't play from behind. All of these heroes really try to get out in front and ahead, and they're trying to make a play on Sam. Or no, that's the Violama dying.
Just no. It's not a good idea. And now Yuma's going to get punished? No. Okay, BKB will be popped this time around. Brax, though, still gets in for the skewer, but Papatuti responding with the Dream Coil, connecting onto 4, but where's the follow-up damage? They are going to be able to get in there. 1437 finds the pick onto Gunner, but they need more than that. They need to be able to pull back successfully, but Pandago is going to be taken down here. His ult had already been popped, so he is not going to be able to bail himself out of that play. He and Davai Lama go down. They do get Gunner, but they lose the tier 2 tower as well. So at this point, Four Zoomers still getting the better of these engagements, and as you were sort of mentioning before, it really feels like at this point, Four Zoomers have just broken this one open. Up by 8,000 net worth, they seem to have control of the map, of the team fights, really just everything going their way.
Well, and maybe if he had a slightly tankier build up on Gunner on Tiny, we are seeing him go for sort of it feels like an EE build almost on the Tiny, where he's just getting whatever item his team needs, not the items that necessarily will propel his own game. But at this point, it really feels like Sammy Boy could just carry you to victory. He's almost at his AC. They're trying for another smoke up, but I think without the Mars is showing mid, so maybe they would get a little bit careless, but they need to kill every single hero in the backline instantly. If Ocean and Husky don't die immediately, this fight is just going to get turned on. And they have no vision. Again, they're working completely blind.
He got spotted initially. Papatuti now going to get hit up in the river as well. He's jumping away initially, but oh my god, that damage. He is not going to be able to make it away as Husky glimpses him back in, but the phase shift is actually going to keep him safe, so the puck will get out, or maybe not. Yeah, Gunner's going to keep the chase going. Another Illusory Orb Jaunt should keep him alive for the time being, but he is desperately trying to get out. The Avalanche, though, still hits him. And Gunner, okay, going to get locked down now by the Dream Coil, but at this point, Papatuti has spent so much in terms of resources just getting away from that fight. But I think he is going to make it out. Can he complete the TP? Yes, he can. Gunner can't quite close the gap in time, but what a sort of odyssey that the puck had to go on there just to make sure he doesn't get taken down, and that does put the Dream Coil on cooldown. So he lives, but now D2 Hustlers have significantly less in the way of initiating power over the next minute.
And it's the little plays that matter, but having to use the coil, immediately Roshan respawns. I believe that's the earliest possible Roshan as well, and it feels incredibly unfortunate because now D2 Hustlers, they're scanning it out, but I don't know if you really want to take this engagement. They're going to get a little bit of vision up. They can finally see something, but I think they're just a little bit too far in the pit. I think they're just going to get everything for free.
And they're starting to split up a little bit here, too. A couple heroes move towards the pit. The rest pushed into the west side jungle, but they don't get anything in here. No kills. They don't prevent the Roche attempt, and now Pandago's just going to be left to his own devices, and I don't think he makes it out. Wraithfire Blast will lock him down, but the rest of Four Zoomers starting to shift their attention over to the west as well. Sammy Boy, though, will finish off the kill, but now they're in onto Papatuti, hitting him up with that shackle. Do they have the damage to bring him down? Yes, they do. Ocean coming in there with the power shot. Meanwhile, Sammy Boy still chasing, looking for the Wraithfire Blast in just a few more seconds. Yuma's going to have to try and break line of sight, but there's really nothing more he can do. Sammy? Okay, went for the Mortal Strike instead, but it's wasn't going to matter initially, but the BKB will be popped.
the
That
RP.
prevents the glimpse, but the RP does come through. Brax locking Yuma down. They need a little more damage, and I think they've got it. The Avalanche into the toss, throws Brax onto the Templar Assassin,
Oh,
and now, oh my goodness, Divine Llama, when it rains, it pours here. D2 Hustlers just unable to get anything going for themselves as another hero will get caught out. Brax, meanwhile, actually went in for the skewer, catching 1437 too. This is just one disaster after another. 1437, I mean, he'll buy back,
gonna
but...
glimpse him.
Yep, there it is. Davai Lama back in the fight. He actually held the BKB. I'm not sure if that was a cooldown thing or if he was just trying to sort of bait out another fight, but either way, he's going to be forced to fall back. Brax, though, look at that. Another skewer play, pulling Pandago back over the wall. He is going to be able to pop his ult, though. That'll keep him alive for now. Papatuti dropping down the Dream Coil, but again, yeah, we are starting to run out of abilities to throw out here as 1437 uses the stolen... Okay, stolen skewer,
Papatuti.
unfortunately. Oh... The eternal debate on the shackle. Is it the man in front or the man behind? It doesn't matter, yeah. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. They will both go down, and the GG will be called. That's it. Four Zoomers able to take game one, and that looked pretty good for them. They play it clean over the last couple of minutes there. Those final maybe 2 or 3 fights in a row just really kind of slaughters for the Four Zoomers side as they march their way to the win.
And really, it feels like that Disruptor pick fit their lineup absolutely perfectly. D2 Hustlers weren't able to leverage that vision that you get from the puck and the TA. It felt like they had a really good shot coming out of all of the farming, all of the stacks that 1437 did. He was able to boost up his cores really heavily. And again, with the start that Gunnar had, it sort of got dampened on by Dalai Lama, and they were really feeling like they were playing up to speed. They felt like they were able to match pace with the Four Zoomers. But eventually, Sammy Boy, he just walked. It was really that top fight that sort of turned the tables where they wasted their Aegis. They got dove under, or really, it was them diving underneath the towers trying to get the kills. They got kited out for so long by the Disruptor, by the Shackles, by the Skewers. And it's just fantastic spell usage from Four Zoomers that sort of spelled D2 Hustlers' defeat. It really felt like they could have taken the game at that maybe 14 to 16 minute mark when they had that Aegis and they were really getting aggressive.
Yeah, D2 Hustlers just 1 or 2 misplays up against a squad like Four Zoomers, though. That's all it takes. You make 1 or 2 sort of mistakes there with that sort of bad fight around the Aegis, and Four Zoomers will punish you for it. Brax and Sammy Boy, 0 deaths between the two of them. So stellar play out from Four Zoomers as they do take that win. That is going to bump up their record now to 5-0. They remain undefeated here as D2 Hustlers can't quite get enough there. Excuse me, to hand Four Zoomers their first defeat. But game 2 is going to be coming up. D2 Hustlers still have a shot at salvaging that 1-1 draw and getting their first points on the board, but they're going to need maybe something a little bit better here. We saw that position 1 TA not exactly work out for them. Feels like maybe they'll put together something a bit more standard for game 2, but we'll have to wait and find out. That game 2 draft should be coming up in just a couple of minutes here, so we're going to hop into a bit of a commercial break, but stick around, and we'll bring that second match to you just as quickly as we can.